Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a woman is found stabbed to death inside a retirement home in Louisville. And the primary election in Kentucky is just days away. We hear from the Secretary of State about his expectations for voter turnout in the Commonwealth.
Plus, we are tracking a slight break from the wet weather tomorrow before more rain chances on Friday, also this weekend. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are learning more about a woman who was stabbed to death in a Louisville retirement home this morning. Police were called to the Friendship House on South 4th Street in Old Louisville just after 5 a.m. Inside, they found a woman dead with stab wounds. Her name has not been released yet, but our sister station in Louisville was told she was a resident of the facility.
I think that residents here, in addition to their families, have a history with Christian Care, and they know we do everything we can to keep people safe. So while it is a tragic situation, and we are getting word out to residents, to families, and to everyone as quickly as possible, we have a history of taking care of people, and I think that they know that we will take care of them through this process.
Officers with the Louisville Metro Police Department say they do not have any suspects in the case. The driver of a pickup truck involved in a crash that killed 8 people in north central Florida appeared in court this morning. The judge denied bond to Brian McLean Howard, who's charged with 8 counts of DUI manslaughter. In yesterday's crash, authorities say a Ford Ranger he was driving traveled toward the center line of a highway and hit a bus carrying more than 50 farm workers. The bus went off the road through a fence and overturned. The bribery and corruption trial of Senator Bob Menendez is well underway. A jury has been seated and opening arguments have started. The New Jersey Democrat has been charged with acting as a foreign agent on behalf of Egypt and assisting the government of Qatar. Prosecutors say he did this all while taking bribes from several New Jersey businessmen. The 12 jurors and 6 alternates were sworn in Wednesday in Manhattan.
We are tracking some more wet weather for this Wednesday evening. Up on first alert, pinpoint Doppler, a few light to moderate showers and a few thunderstorms in the Big Sandy Valley. Some good news, though, no severe weather on this Wednesday. Zooming into a few light to moderate showers and 1 thunderstorm over parts of Buchanan County, Virginia, pushing into Dickinson County as well. Also not too far away from Elkhorn City over in southern Pike County, pushing close to Wise. Also Norton over in Wise County, Virginia. And some more light showers not too far away from West Liberty in Morgan County, also close to Salyersville over in Magoffin County and in Martin County at this hour, and some more light showers close to Barberville and Knox County, pushing into parts of Bell County at this hour. The wet weather yesterday, also today, all thanks to an upper level low, or this area of low pressure, and that will continue spinning over our region for this evening. But once this passes by late tonight, also on Thursday, a little bit of some drier air is on the way. Not completely dry, but the rain coverage not as widespread by tonight. Also for your Thursday, most of us right now in the upper 60s to lower 70s, and we see upper 50s to lower 60s to wake up on your Thursday. Also a first alert, possibly some patchy fog to wake up on your Thursday. A little bit of a break tomorrow, and then more rain chances by Friday and this weekend. All those details coming up in just a little bit. Olivia?
Cameron, thank you. President Joe Biden and Donald Trump are set for 2 debate showdowns. Both presidential candidates have accepted an invitation from CNN for a June 27th debate. They also accepted ABC's invitation for a second debate on September 10th. This comes after Biden pulled out of the traditional debates set up by the Commission on Presidential Debates and challenged Trump to a debate showdown.
You've got one person that's going to bring competence, that's President Biden, and you've got one person that's going to bring chaos, and that's President Trump. I think it's always going to come down to what's best for the American people and what helps us get things done here.
CNN's debate will be held at its Atlanta studios without an audience. A longtime friend is helping President Biden prepare for next month's debate against former President Donald Trump. Ron Klain, a former Biden administration chief of staff, is currently the chief legal officer for Airbnb. He told CNN he is taking a break from that to work with Biden. Former President Donald Trump is set to pay a visit to the Bluegrass tonight. Trump was scheduled to be in Lexington. According to the National Review, Trump was set to be in the area for a fundraiser. According to our sister station, the event is being hosted by Barbara Bank and Joe and Kelly Kraft. The details of where exactly the fundraiser would be in Lexington were not provided. It is time to decide on leadership roles here in the Commonwealth. No excuse early voting begins tomorrow for people who want to go ahead and get it done before Election Day. Early voting runs until Sunday, and if you prefer to vote on Election Day, Kentucky's primary is on Tuesday. Kelsey Soto talked to Secretary of State Michael Adams about his expectations for voter turnout.
Your chance to be a part of democracy starts Thursday with no excuse early voting, meaning you can vote for any reason on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday ahead of next week's primary.
We've had some people who were skeptical of election integrity in Kentucky, and we said, well, come be a poll worker. And they changed their tune. They came away with much more confidence in our elections, having been part of the elections.
Secretary of State Michael Adams says he's only expecting about a 15% turnout. However, the last few years, his office has been working diligently to clear outdated names off voter registration rolls, which could help raise those numbers.
But you're also going to see higher turnout because now the voter rolls are cleaner. And we took off several 100,000 people who had moved away or passed away or had been put away. And when you have a lower denominator, that means you have a higher overall turnout.
There are at least 20 legislative races that will be decided in the primary, which is 16% where it's just members of one party running. Adams tells me he's been studying turnout demographics. And even though it's a presidential election year, we may not see the influx of voters casting their ballot until the general in November.
The median age of a voter in the primary a year ago, Republican primary, was 58 years old. That number skews much, much younger in a general election. So in a primary election, at least on the Republican side, it's a much older demographic by about 30 years.
In Frankfort, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.
All 100 State House of Representatives seats are up for grabs. 19 Senate seats are also up for the taking. This year, almost 40% of legislative races are totally unchallenged. We also learned not too long ago that Adams will cast his ballot tomorrow morning in Louisville, and Governor Andy Beshear, along with First Lady Brittany, will cast their votes for the primary in Frankfort. U.S. leaders are honoring law enforcement today for National Police Week. House Republicans stood alongside law enforcement, saying the country needs to do a better job supporting officers. They introduced a series of bills they say will help make that happen. President Biden honored more than 200 officers who made the ultimate sacrifice last year. Officers say the number of names can be shocking, but that does not tell the full story.
Every name has a face. It has a story. It has a memory. It has a family that has been left behind. And that's why we're here today. As a free society, it is our responsibility to make sure that we always honor the sacrifice of our fallen and support the families.
House Republicans are pushing a series of law enforcement bills for National Police Week, including measures that would expand concealed carry rights for officers, increase mental health resources, and deport undocumented immigrants who assault officers. The Education Department tackling the issue of chronic absenteeism, which remains a significant problem in public schools across the country since the pandemic. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona says absenteeism is also a federal issue, and that's why he hosted the Everyday Count Summit at the White House, featuring bipartisan state and local education leaders who are tackling absenteeism head on.
One thing in particular that we're focusing on is increasing full-service community schools. We know that sometimes the obstacles to attendance need to be addressed, whether that's transportation, the need for mental health supports. So what we're trying to do is wrap it together in a suite of supports for students in our schools.
Cardona says absent students often miss out on key support that schools offer, including counseling and extracurricular activities. And coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, we take a look at ways on how you can avoid becoming the next scam in today's Watching Your Wallet.
Plus, a few showers and dense fog are possible tonight. Your forecast coming up.